I'm the guy who invented the thing that's gonna take us out of this place. If you could read my mind, you would know what kind of pajamas I want when it comes to bedtime. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. They let me be what I want to be.
And I'm not looking forward to the Dark Phoenix movie.
Oh, the new Dark Phoenix movie?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Apocalypse War or Apocalypse. I haven't seen that
Yeah,
one.
it's been Apocalypse.
Yeah.
You haven't?
No.
You're not missing anything.
So, what was the one before Apocalypse?
Days of the Future Past.
I saw that one. That one was fine.
Yeah, that one was serviceable. And then First Class, right? Or the one before that.
I haven't seen First Class either. I think I've
that
only
one's
seen,
really good.
I've seen Logan. Logan was fine.
Logan was fine.
I never actually watched it, though.
I thought Logan was fantastic.
I missed the first part.
We're
Oh,
recording
Ian,
now.
Ian said his intro.
Oh, I know, you know,
And I'm not telling the truth.
I don't know.
You don't know
You
the
don't know the
song?
theme song.
No, I don't. I'm terrible.
In
with
between
songs.
the lines, there's a lot of obscurity.
Not inclined to resign to maturity.
It's alright.
Right.
Any of it? Do you know any of it?
No?
No.
Wow.
Boy.
That's okay, Marcus has
Dude, you know
done
why
a lot of songs.
you know why
that
I
don't know.
stand at church and don't sing? Because I don't know the songs.
That's fair.
I
Sometimes
know-
we do some really weird,
I
obscure
know.
songs.
One verse of one song.
Which song?
Amazing Grace. That's it.
Do you know the first? Is it the first
What,
verse?
yeah, is it?
Yes, it is the first verse. That is it.
So it's the one that literally everybody knows.
So
Yes.
you don't know the words, even though the words are up on
I don't know the words to my favorite songs, like Metallica songs.
Yeah, I don't know the words to a lot of songs either. So
Now, if the music was playing
fair.
and the guy was singing, I might be able to sing along.
Yeah.
But that, like, you asked me to sing, no, I can't do it. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but I can't.
Yeah. I'm kind of like that for some songs. I have to listen to it a lot.
That's weird. I know the lyrics to a lot of songs. This is so I already interrupt a lot. And I think it's gonna get really bad with this episode being
Probably.
two other people here.
That's fair. This is probably going to be a long episode, too. Just going to warn you guys. I don't know. So, Marcus,
What's the show?
Yeah, what's the show?
This is Let Me Pitch This to You. This is the idea podcast where me and Ian and sometimes guests like Mac pitch story ideas and stuff. And we're sponsored by. We're celebrating Psych. It's a show that we're all big fans of and had a movie recently. So
Yeah.
we have a chance to talk about it, and we're gonna maybe pitch episodes.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
And we have Mac here as our special guest.
So do I look straight into the camera or do I look at you guys?
Whatever you
I
wanna
do.
do.
This thing where
You can look straight at one of us, but that's kind of gay.
Yeah,
you can look at the camera, but that's kind of weird. Or you can
Okay.
just stare off into space.
I usually hit just like the corner over here, so like it looks like I'm looking generally at Ian, but not at the camera, and not at either of them.
The only show I watch that's like similar to this, where you get a bunch of guys talking about movies. Well, actually, like two. Red Letter Media,
I've heard a lot of good things.
and they
about
stare
that.
at each
I haven't
other. So I'm
seen
gonna stare at you guys.
Okay, that's fair.
So if it's weird, I apologize.
No, we can make a lot of eye contact.
See, the thing is, Mac, is when you stare at me, I just have like flashbacks of in youth group when you just like slam dodgeballs, and it just scares me.
Yeah,
No, I thought you were
So you're
like,
staring at me.
like I'm
It's like you're gonna kill me.
like that basketball. I'm just gonna take the basketball
Yeah,
off
just
yourself
like-
and just
Throw it.
ping you right in the face
Yep.
because I don't like your pitch.
we might get views.
I don't know. We might.
We have to do something different. Well, what we've been
All of
doing
a sudden,
doesn't work.
all of a sudden, just go pow! You just take a basketball right to the face.
I mean, hey, yeah, what we've been doing doesn't get us great views, so...
Well,
That's fair.
Since we're talking about Psych, we should have a pineapple, and that's what I should throw at your face.
Yeah.
Hold up.
I told Marcus to go to the store while I was setting stuff up and go get a pineapple, and he didn't.
And instead, I thought about my pitch more and tried to develop it, so I actually had something to talk
But
about. on the
he
show.
still doesn't have anything.
I suppose that's fair.
Well, I have something-ish, kind
But a
of.
pineapple's pretty easy to get,
I know.
right?
I told him the supermarket's like literally right down the road.
Ian has a Psych shirt on.
That's fair.
He does have, okay. You got
I do have a pineapple on my shirt.
I didn't see that before.
fair.
You had your jacket on.
That's fair.
All right, so let's
go first.
Let's not like pitch. Let's just like talk about the show.
Okay.
Favorite characters, favorite
Okay.
like moments.
So I want to say it's heartbreaking, but I was actually sad earlier this year because I've watched the whole series every year on Netflix. It's been on Netflix, so every year I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to watch Psych again. So
Yeah.
I'd watched through the whole series, and I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times. And I went to go watch it earlier this year because I was in the mood. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start watching Psych again. It was gone.
And they took it off Netflix, yeah.
And I was actually, I'd never been sad because a show was unavailable to watch. I was actually sad. A little part of me that was sad. I'm like, I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be sad about a show.
Yeah.
Not being able to watch a show, but I couldn't, and I was actually a little sad. So I had to borrow it from my brother. So now I'm watching it again.
Yeah. See, I own it all on DVD now. So.
I don't.
I just got the last couple seasons for my birthday because those were the ones I didn't have.
Now, how many copies of the seasons do you own?
Just one.
Just the one.
I'm not a psychopath.
So you're not okay.
I mean, maybe psych, but I'm not a psycho.
What is that? The Donnie Darko? Have you ever seen that movie?
No, but your brother talks about it a lot at the Bible study that Andrew Hall does at the Sampsons. I think it was your brother and Matt were talking about that show.
So my brother's a big fan of Donnie Darko, but apparently they did like a fan, like who is the biggest fan, and there was one guy who every time he wanted to watch the movie, he'd go buy a new copy. And he had seen the movie over 100 times. So he had like over 100 copies of Donnie Darko.
Wow.
He never watched the same copy twice. That's just
weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
It's a little bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is kind of weird.
It's a weird movie. So I suppose it inspires weirdness in people.
That's fair.
But like favorite character, favorite moment, or moments. It's a long show. You know how
It's hard to say. Like I said earlier, I think I said on like a couple episodes ago, my favorite episode is American Duos, where they go on the contest. I can't think of what's American Idol. I couldn't think of
Right, it's American Idol ripoff.
Yeah, and then what I love about that is then they rip off in the show. Like they say something in the show because someone asks what's American Duos. They're like, oh, it's a rip off of that one show, which is a rip off of that other show. Because
there's a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Now.
I got a lot of favorite moments, but since I'm watching it through right now, one of my favorite moments in the early seasons is I don't know, there's so many of them, but so they're doing a Civil War reenactment in Lansing. Civil War reenactment, and he has to get Gus into the Civil War reenactment. Sean has to get Gus into the Civil War reenactment, and he's like, "What do you expect me to be?"
Yeah.
And so he ends up wearing this huge, poofy uniform with these massive feathers that come off the back, and he's trying to walk around in the sewers and stuff, solve this
Washington
crime. Right.
In glory.
Right.
That was a good bit.
Yeah.
I think as far as like my favorite Psych moment might be the scene in the comic book episode when they're all dressed up as superheroes and Lassiter and Jules like have guns on them and Gus throws sand at Lassiter. Like that whole moment, I don't know why, is one of the like funniest moments in Psych to me.
Yeah.
Just like Lassiter, like, did you throw sand at me? Like, I like that part a lot. It's probably my favorite episode as well.
Yeah.
That was your favorite episode?
Probably. I like it a lot. I think it's funny.
That was a good episode.
I've only seen season 8 once.
Same here, actually.
So I'd have to. I don't know. I don't really remember any of them. And they're like, so like the earlier episodes I've seen more than the later episodes.
Season 8 was weird though. Like it was very.
The Harry Potter episode was good.
That was good.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
He's like, you ran over every cone. He's like, I know. Nothing gets in my way. I get the job done.
Yeah.
And they think they get made, and Gus like tries to cast a spell, and it doesn't. It's good.
It's a good episode.
I'm down. Try to turn off the mic next time.
Marcus, do you have a pitch for an episode, though? I'm
So
really curious.
here's my idea. I have like half a pitch. So here's my idea.
All right.
Ian goes first. I go second. And Mac maybe tries to go third if he can think of anything as we talk.
Okay. I've done that before on the show, though. Like, I've not had a pitch
I hate
and
you.
thought of it.
We have a week to come up with literally any
I've done
idea
that
ever,
before.
and you come unprepared every week.
What did you do this week?
I have a pitch. I don't know, my dog just did. I can talk right now.
All right.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, I want to do something that kind of fell away in later seasons, as far as like starting with Sean as a kid and kind of being about something and then going to present day. So, I wanted to start with Sean watching Scooby-Doo, and I want to have like a Scooby-Doo themed Psych episode. And they have one that's kind of like it, but mine's going to be very different.
Okay.
Ish. So I don't have like any of the important stuff for a mystery, like who did it, what the crime is, what the clues are, or anything like that. But I have the setup for, I think, something that could be enjoyable to see with Sean and Gus. So they go to like a Renaissance fair. Like Gus is like super into it.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to a Renaissance fair, and then like sort of a team of people are committing murders, but they're all in like suits of armor and stuff, so it looks very Scooby-Doo like esque, like they're getting chased by a bunch of like ghost knights and stuff like that,
Okay.
and sort of just be very fantastical and ridiculous. And we can at some point get them in costumes, which I think would be a fun visual to see Sean and Gus trying to wear suits of armor and at some point have to like sword fight people.
Like, are you going to have them, like, they're running and then they, like, all of a sudden they hide into a suit of armor, like on Scooby-Doo?
No, I mean
Like, kind of like how Shaggy and Scooby-Doo.
I mean, like, that's racist.
What?
Because you implied that Gus was the dog in that scenario.
I did not imply that.
I mean, at some point, like, they have to put on suits of armor and sword fight.
Yeah.
I think would be a very funny visual to see. Especially, like, those actors, I think, when they do, like, some of the physical comedy that they do in that show.
Sean is definitely Shaggy,
Yeah.
right?
Not wrong, eh?
Yeah.
And if Lassiter's on the show, right? He's, I don't remember all their names. Who's
Fred.
Fred, probably.
Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gus is Wilma because Gus knows everything.
Yep.
And
Jules would be-
Wilma was the one who knows everything, right?
Yeah.
The one with the glasses,
Yeah.
the nerdy one.
Yeah,
That's
and
Gus.
Jules would be, what's her name?
Daphne.
Velma.
Daphne.
Daphne?
Yeah.
Who's Velma?
Velma's the one you were talking about, but I think
Okay.
you called her Wilma.
I did.
Wilma.
her name's Wilma.
No, Wilma is from the Flintstones.
Right.
That's a completely different show. Okay, another pitch. We're going
I
to
do
do
have a
a
pitch.
Psych Flintstones.
Or yes. No, screw this. Favorite Flintstones episodes. Let's go. I don't actually know anything about the Flintstones.
Me neither, but I do have a psych pitch now.
Oh, good.
If,
Glad to hear
if
it.
he isn't ready, I can go.
I'm ready to.
It's totally on the seat of my...
Is that yours? I have one more question about yours.
You know,
Are they like going to the Renaissance Fair just to go, or do they go there because of the murder?
No. Gus is a huge. I think it'd be more fun if.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
Gus would be
definitely
very
Gus,
into
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And like dragging Sean there, and Sean's like, I don't want to.
Kind of like when they go to the Comic-Con and Gus is super in it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but then like.
With George the Cop.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was my favorite episode.
Was it?
Yeah.
About the
knows you.
blueberries? He's
Yes.
like, oh.
That guy knows you. I don't know who that is. I've never seen him before. He said hi. He's just saying he's being polite. He said hi, Gus. Like, he knows you, Gus. I think that would just be a good episode, like to see, because like Sean hates it, but then Sean also like gets to go like see swords and stuff, and like because he's a child, be like, oh, like this would be fun. So like I can see him kind of like walking through there, and like one of the knights like letting somebody see their sword, and Sean just very recklessly throwing it about and stuff, and
Yeah.
and then like at some point Jules has to come because she's like an actual cop in the new city that they're in or whatever. Where'd they move?
Oh wait, so is this going to be after the show?
Yeah, they
Okay,
moved
so
to
this is going to be in San Francisco.
San Francisco, and maybe like Tony Shalhoub can show up at some point.
So
I
you're
have
going to
two
bring
pitches now.
Are you going to bring Lassie into it then, or?
I don't know. Like I think at some point. Oh. Okay, I'll tell you what. Gus's bachelor party is gonna be going to the Renaissance Fair. Gus is getting married, and that would explain why Lassiter would be there because he's in the wedding.
Is Gus marrying what's her face with the kid? With
I
Max?
what's her name?
Rachel.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Did she show up season 7 or 8?
7. She's not in the last. She's like she leaves at the end of 7, but they don't break up. She like has to go be an adult or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, she has to go back to England.
So you're abandoning the Scooby-Doo thing?
Well, it's still Scooby-Doo-esque, and then like they're at this.
But they're at the Renaissance Festival
for Gus's bachelor party.
It's only good though. No, it is good. I think, but it elevates it to another level if the villain wears a mask, right? The villain has to be wearing a mask
Of some kind, and they have to take it off. Yeah.
Yes, and then they at some point they have to take it off.
Yeah, they have to have some.
And the villain has to say, if it wasn't for you meddling kids at some point, to some group of kids.
Meddling cops.
Meddling cops, yeah. Okay. That'd be okay.
And they have to
A little
catch
too
him.
on the nose. It says meddling kids.
They have to catch him in like. They have to have a very elaborate trapping plan that doesn't work, and then kind of a little bit at the end works, and then they improvise the rest. Then Gus and Sean have to make a mistake that ends up having them and the bad guys tied up together, and then they get freed, and then they unmask them.
That's fair.
But I thought about that earlier today. I was like, would it be like a really fun visual? And I think that like they're both physical enough comedians where like when they do some things like that and get very scared, like it was like Sean and Gus being like terrified to like be in a sword fight reenactment or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be funny to see. But yeah, that's like my whole idea. That's all I have.
I can get
I like
behind
it.
that, yeah.
That could be fleshed out into something good.
Yeah. Alright, I got mine written down on my phone too. I have like a whole
Ian's prepared.
I have a whole page probably of like script. I won't read through the whole thing, don't
Ian has
worry.
a small book.
Alright,
You
ready?
have dialogue. You got a
Blah
scene
blah
written
blah,
out.
blah 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 blah. I do have a lot of like dialogue. But the thing is like I'll get really into writing dialogue and I don't really write out scenes, so I'll probably just explain it. First of all, the title of the episode is Then There Was Gus. And that's in reference to another show that Marcus, you probably will get the reference to.
What's the pun?
Okay.
And then there was none.
And then
Okay.
and then there was Gus. But it's reference to Boy Meets World, the episode, and then there was Sean. Not Sean from Psych,
Right.
but Sean from Boy Meets
I
World.
don't remember the
So-
well, hold on. What's the episode about?
So-
I've seen it.
First of all, the Boy Meets World episode is where they're all in the school, and it's like
I know. Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good
yeah,
one.
and there's this like. First of all, they're all a bunch of kids too, so it's kind of super corny. But there's this guy running around, kind of Scooby-Doo-esque actually, and killing off everybody. And anyway, so I'm kind of riffing off of that for the Psych pitch. But what I wanted to be was there in the police station, and there's all of a sudden like there's some kind of ghost or phantom like running around killing everybody, and shoot, what was one of the scenes I had?
Where would this take place canonically, real quick?
Okay, so it would take place wherever, really.
Like,
is
is it after the show ends, or are they in San Francisco, or is it?
No, in Frick, what's it
Santa
called?
Barbara.
Santa Barbara. But see, now I get all nervous. I don't know how to pitch it.
You
But
have it written down.
yeah, I know, but it's like it's hard to follow what you write. I'm sorry.
I write like a insane person. Ashley used to edit my papers and complain about it. I'm like, this doesn't try. Oh, okay.
So, essentially, the way it started out is actually I got to start with the opening too. Sean wakes up screaming on the couch. He wakes up screaming. Gus comes over. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Sean? What's going on?" They're in the psych office, and Sean's like, "Oh, I just had a horrible dream, Gus, that we all got murdered," and then it kind of dives back into it. He goes to look at the TV, and then it dives back into what you think is his dream. Or I take that back. It's not. It doesn't dive back into his dream. But what happens is, sorry, I'm not pitching it very well. But
No, you're good.
so Sean wakes up screaming, has this terrible nightmare. Sean and Gus, they go to Gus's parents' house for dinner, and like I had this whole dialogue spiel or whatever to kind of bring the characters together, and then they're on their way back to the police station to meet Jules and Lassie, who are working on a case, and they're all at the police station, and and Sean's dad and Chief Vic end up going there too. There's like this whole bit, they go down and they find Woody there.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Okay.
Because I just want to make sure I know what's going on. So, did Gus's parents come to the station? So is it...
No, it
okay.
wasn't Gus's parents. It was like they went to Gus's parents, like his dad was there and stuff, like they were there for dinner, and then kind of is like a regrouping of the characters. And then...
So as far as people at the police station that are characters...
Yeah, and then like one bit that I had was like... Sean and Gus have to then walk to the police station because Sean left a open beef stick on the seat of the car and the window down, and there was a skunk eating it in Gus's car.
It could happen.
So, just kind of something silly or whatever. So they're going to the police station. They're at the police station.
But who's there, like, character-wise, at the police station?
So you got Sean, Gus, Lassie, Jules, Henry, and Chief Vic.
Okay.
And they walk down, and they find Woody sleeping. And I really want to have this scene because the way he acts with all the dead people, he's sleeping in one of those that they put the dead people in, the drawers.
The cadaver drawers?
Yeah.
The cadaver drawers?
Yeah. How do you know that's what they're called?
I'm guessing that's what they're called.
Okay. I was going to say that's a little disturbing if you actually know what they're called.
Woody would probably call it a nap slot or something like that.
Yeah, no.
So they find Woody sleeping.
He speaks with authority, so it just sounds like...
They find him sleeping there. And they wake him up. And
The nap nook. That's probably what
and then when they're in there, that's when they like... Sean thinks he sees something running by the window or whatever. They go out into the hallway. And he comes back in, and I haven't decided who I want to get killed first. I think it's Lassie, but I don't know.
Oh, that's so sad. I like Lasseter as a character. Like, I think he's funny.
Either Lassie or
It's going to be like
Chief
a Quentin Tarantino movie where everyone dies at the end.
So, kind of.
Never seen any of those movies.
Okay, and then one reference that I really want to have, and I told you about this, and it's kind of because it's in Boy Meets World in the same episode, is after the first guy dies, Sean's like, or Gus is like, we're all gonna die, and then Sean's like, well, I guess we're not all gonna die, because from what I remember from all the horror movies, the virgins never die, so Dad, you're gonna be fine. And then his dad's like, Sean, you're standing right here, you know. And then Sean is like, well, that'll just prove once and for all that I was in fact adopted.
That's a Sean thing to say. That's good.
Yeah, I just thought that'd be pretty good. And that same kind of thing happens in the Boy Meets World episode. So they keep getting killed off one by one, and then finally it's down to just Sean and Gus, and
If you say Gus is the killer, then I'm going to say, oh, so it is literally
no,
except with the Psych characters.
No. I was going to do that when I first wrote it, but it's down to just Sean and Gus. And
they've already done a Clue episode.
They already have done a Clue episode? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which one?
100.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Season 7.
I guess this is kind of like the Clue episode, isn't it?
I've never seen the movie Clue.
You know what? Clue is a board game, Marcus.
There's a movie about Clue, and
Actually, who's the
I've never seen
who is the
that.
judge in the duo episode? What's his name?
Nigel St.
Nigel, yeah.
Right, Nigel St. Nigel. What's the actor's name?
I don't know.
couldn't tell you.
So it was funny. It's not funny, but Nigel St. Nigel, that actor, which I can never remember his name when I want to talk about him, and he's in like National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon. He's a hitman. He's hilarious.
Okay.
But he plays the butler in the movie Clue.
They could have had him come
But
back.
he's not in the Clue episode
Oh, Psych.
which is like, I think, a missed opportunity.
Huh, interesting.
They could have had
That's the one with the cougar outside. I both feel that. There's a cougar outside ripping people's faces off.
what's his name? The guy from Tears for Fears. Like,
Oh, shoot, what's his name? I don't know.
yeah.
So anyway, so it's down to just Sean and Gus, and they think everyone else is dead. And then, excuse me, sorry. And the one part I haven't figured out is actually like how they get killed, but I wanted it to be like like bring back some character that you haven't seen in a while. I maybe Despero, but I don't want to do Despero because I feel like he's too cool of a character to use for that.
You just
Comes
dissed your
back.
own pitch.
What?
If Despero, it should
Like-
be that
like
way
to be
around.
the murderer.
No,
Like, I don't
Despero
want
is
to be
not
the
good
murderer.
enough for this.
No, he's way too cool to be the
He's way too
murderer.
good for this trash that I have.
Anyway, and I don't know
I
how
need
to end
Hulk
it.
Hogan. That's
Yeah.
what I need. Hulk Hogan.
And
That's right about right.
Then all of a sudden, like right before Sean and Gus get murdered, Gus wakes up and it's him screaming, and Sean asks him what's wrong, and this is kind of leads up to the whole, because I didn't have a pitch for a while. This leads up to my whole original idea. Gus wakes up then, and Sean comes over. He asks what's wrong. Only the difference is it's an Asian Sean and an Indian Gus.
Okay, I
That's
think
the
you
idea.
just broke like the first rule of endings, the first cardinal rule in endings. It's never, and they were dreaming, and then they
Really?
woke up. Yeah.
I guess that's
I
fair.
thought you were going to say, like, this is legit what I thought you were going to say. Be like Gus comes, or like Sean comes over to be like, hey, what's wrong? But then like Sean like as he like leans in, like stabs him or something, and be like, what? And then it ends. And be like, oh shoot, what?
That'd be
I
good
thought
too.
that was the ending.
I honestly, I didn't really know how to end it, so I came back to like my original idea of like, what if Sean and Gus were of different races, and then,
Yeah,
or what if it was like in a
it's-
different country? Like, what if it was made by like a Chinese production?
They were
company or
dreaming
something?
the whole time, or they've been dead the whole time. Those are like the two worst endings.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go with the.
Oh
worst
shoot,
ending.
you just
I'm
just,
sorry
like,
for just. I'm sorry.
really put Lost on blast.
No, that wasn't the ending of Lost.
What was the ending of Lost? They weren't dead the whole time?
No, they weren't dead the whole time.
What was the ending of Lost then?
As each one of them died through the series, they went to purgatory, and they waited for Shepard. He died at the end of the series. That is when he died. And then he went to purgatory. And then the people who died after him, they went to purgatory. And they all showed up at the same time, so to speak, because in purgatory, time had no meaning. That was what the guy said at the end of the episode. It was a terrible ending, but it wasn't and they were all dead. They all met at the same place. And not all of them, but only certain ones, because they weren't all there. If you
Yeah.
remember.
Okay.
Did
See, I never finished
So-
Lost. Like
You're not missing anything.
is
Yeah,
there-
it was hard to like. I
Some people love the ending, but I did. I felt very
no, I
unsatisfied.
got very burned out on
there's,
it.
There's 3 seasons of Lost, and it ends before the island starts to time travel, and then ends with no questions answered, but it's an okay show. Was there a story reason why not all the characters showed up who died, or was it just like a money reason? Like they just
Wait.
couldn't get all the actors.
I think
back
it
in
was
the same
story,
room?
but when I say I think it was story, I think it was because the writer, the head writer, did not know how to bring them back properly, and I think that was what the show actually suffered from. Was a guy who was great at coming up with these little ideas, right? Working them into the show, asking these intriguing questions, but he was terrible at coming up with answers. So they had a question guy, but they didn't have an answer guy. They should have hired an answer guy. They should have hired a closer, right? They didn't have a closer, and it's the same guy who wrote the treatment for Prometheus.
Never seen it.
Did you guys ever see?
No.
But Prometheus, which is supposed to be in the Alien universe, right?
Okay.
Ridley Scott,
Never seen Aliens.
and so this is like a prequel.
Okay.
And you watch the trailer, and it has some major characters that were only hinted at in the other movies. The space jockeys are like, well, this is going to talk about where humans came from. You know, it's going to ask big questions, but the problem is it asks these big questions, but it never answers anything. There's no satisfying answers, and some of the things that happen in the movie is I actually like the movie, but I understand why people despise it, because there are elements to it that are unsatisfying. There's things like the cartographer is the one who gets lost, right? You don't have map guys, the guys who know how to read maps and do maps. Those aren't the guys who are supposed to get lost.
Yeah.
And the guys who are like really smart on biology, like alien biology or something, are not the first guys to shove their hand in the face of some unknown cobra-looking like creature, right? I mean, these are just like, they just do these really dumb things.
Yeah.
And anyways, it was the same guy who wrote Lost,
Okay.
who did the primary treatment of it. So it was like, it had all the hallmarks of asking good questions, but then not knowing how to finish it.
Yeah.
Right, I
That's
feel like
fair. I didn't end mine very well.
if Lost didn't, again, like we've talked about Lost like 3 different times on the show.
That's fair.
Because
It's true.
But I feel like straight up, if like Lost didn't ever try to answer anything, like if Lost, like the last episode of Lost didn't try to answer any questions for it, like they were still stuck on the island or whatever was going on in the last season, I don't remember, and then just ended, I think that would be a better ending for Lost,
Yeah.
It might have been.
personally.
But I think when you have a show like that, when you pitch it, and now you can do it. We're in a place with Netflix and Amazon Prime where you can do stuff. You got to know how it's going to end. You can't just come up with this idea. Like, look, I have this show. Here's the ending. It's 4 seasons, 5 seasons. Do you want to make it? Yes, we want to make it, or no, we don't. Right? That's what they did with Breaking Bad. The guy came in. He knew how it was going to start. He knew how it was going to end. He had to make some adjustments. I don't want to give any spoilers for anybody who's never seen Breaking Bad, but he made some character adjustments because of people who became popular. He kept them in the show where, they intended on killing a couple characters, but they would survive. But when it comes to the end was still the same. The end is the end. And I think more shows are going to do that. Stranger Things, I think, they have a 4-season arc from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's going to end at the 4th season.
Yeah, and Stranger Things even did that as well. Like for the first season, there's that scene, and they had, in all intents and purposes, had written it to where the Steve character rapes Nancy, and then they're like,
Well, yeah, he was
again,
originally supposed to be like the new guy that comes on with like the super jerker. Sorry to interrupt you. That was originally supposed to be his character.
yeah, but they're like he was too charismatic of an actor that they're like, we don't want to turn him into just like a villain
Yeah.
because he's actually like really charismatic on screen. So he, like in the second season, was arguably like my favorite character of the
Well,
second
he's like
season.
the father
Yeah.
figure
to Dustin. Like
Dustin.
yeah, Dustin and him together was my favorite part.
Yeah, that was-
of the whole new season.
That was good.
All right, Mac, back to Psych.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my...
Yeah, first of all, I want to say I'm sorry I didn't end mine well. Okay, my problem was I just started like writing out a bunch of dialogue about how I wanted it, and I didn't think about
Right.
the ending. So
See, I don't have an ending for my pitch.
okay,
So-
I don't feel so bad.
Right,
now.
so don't
Okay.
feel bad. But it won't be... And they were dreaming the whole time.
So okay, that was because like
I
I'm
don't have an
like
ending, but
shoot,
it'll be better
I
than
didn't
yours.
figure out who murders them anyway. But
I don't
yeah,
have a title, so maybe
yeah.
you can help name it
Okay.
after I give you my pitch.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So the premise is, and Sean has dealt with these kind of people before, or at least he thinks he has, right? There's a murder, and they catch this guy. The first guy they catch, he's the prime suspect. They think he did it, but he claims to be from the future.
Okay.
Okay, and he actually has knowledge that he shares with them that then comes true. And he says the reason why I know this is because I'm from the future.
All right.
Like I'm from like 4 weeks, 5 weeks into the future, not super far, but I'm from the future. And of course, Gus wants to believe that this guy is from the future, right? And Sean does not, and he's like, I'm going to prove that this guy is not from the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the murder, the guys, because they're in Northern California, right? Well, the guy that they find is this. It's this older gentleman with a bag of money, and he was digging it up out of the ground, and he was stabbed to death, and the money was taken, but some of the money was left over, and there's like little clues. That's what Sean, he's able to put this together, that there was money and there was a struggle, and he was stabbed. Obviously, the stab wounds indicating, stabbing.
Gotcha. That's
And so he like almost immediately catches this guy who claims to be from the future. Now the tie-in, the guy who they think, or the guy who is dead, right? They actually think, and I don't know if you guys know who this is, but it's D.B. Cooper. You guys know who D.B. Cooper is?
only from the show Prison Break.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
All right. So D.B. Cooper is one of the great American mysteries, like one of my favorite American. So another one might be like, who is the Zodiac Killer? Right. Well, D.B. Cooper was a guy, I want to say in the 70s. That was the name he gave. That probably wasn't his real name, but he hijacked an airplane. But he he robbed a bank, and he hijacked an airplane, and he had like $200,000 or $300,000 in cash. And over Northern California, well, it might have been Washington, somewhere along the West Coast, right? Mm-hmm. He parachutes out, never to be seen again. They never found him. They never found the money. They found a little bit of the money, like on the ground, but they never found a dead body. So they think he got away, and he's never been identified. And a few people have tried to like hunt down and identify who this guy is, but he's never been identified.
Okay.
I mean, he's an old guy with a cat in Prison Break.
Right. In Prison Break, he's the old guy with a cat, but he has the money. That's what it's all about. Because season 2 is they go look for D.B. Cooper's money, which is hidden under a guy's house.
Like the whole idea was like, I don't know. Prison Break has a lot of issues. Never mind. I don't want
I've never seen it, so.
But anyways, so that's the premise. The guy's from the future and whatever. He's not actually from the future, right? And then but he's not the actual killer either. The real killer is D.B. Cooper. So the guy who was dead is not D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper was still alive, and Sean is able to identify who D.B. Cooper is at the end.
Okay.
That's like how the show ends. Like Sean and Gus figure out who D.B. Cooper is. It puts him on the map, national map, right? Like they have a good reputation in Northern California, and you could say even probably most of California, based on the last episode. But this one, like, they go national now. Now they start. Everybody wants to hire him for all these different things because Sean and Gus were able to identify who D.B. Cooper was, find him and his money,
right.
And he is a jerk. He's in Prison Break. He's a nice guy, but in real life, he's a jerk. I mean, he robbed a bank and hijacked a plane. He's not a nice guy.
Okay, here's my idea to kind of add on to yours, right? So, I've never seen Futurama, but I have a friend who was talking about it. He's like, he has, his hope is that Psych does what Futurama did, where it ended, has a few movies, and then a bunch of fans want to see more Psych, and they make more Psych episodes.
The thing with Psych is you can draw the characters, right, in Futurama.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Because it's easier to do that kind of thing to it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
I'm not saying it can't be done. I like the idea.
Can't age.
I'm not going to argue with more Psych.
That's the first episode back, and then we get like a sort of national Psych where they have to like make the company a little bit bigger.
Like so what you're pitching is like then they all of a sudden now they're taking cases like on the East Coast and stuff like that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like Max would be like episode 1 of season 9 of Psych, and then all of a sudden they're like
I'm thinking more mine is like another movie.
That'd be good.
Okay.
Because you got a guy who's claims to be from the future. I don't know how that works out. He's obviously not from the future, but he does know things that do come true, and I'm not sure how he knows that. Because like I just made all this up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how he knows that. I don't know if it's because he's crazy and like he only remembers certain things and he knows what's going on. So he kind of knows things that are supposed to happen and that's how he knows it, but he doesn't know he knows it. Or if there's something else going on, I don't know.
You said you had another pitch.
No, I just combined them two.
Okay.
One was going to be about D.B. Cooper, one was going to be about the guy from the future, and I just decided to shove them together
It worked.
into one pitch.
Yeah, no, I'd watch that. Yeah.
I like how like all three like you're the one that didn't have a pitch, and then you just kind of like riffed off the fly, and like so far it's been the best between the two of us.
But it needs a title, right? It has to have a pun.
Yeah, it's got to be
You can't
some
just,
kind
like-
of pun. And it's got to rhyme with some kind of show, like specifically an '80s show or movie. But I mean anything, like because I feel like a lot of the episodes are like based off,
Well, not all of them.
Not all
I'm
of them,
trying
but like a lot of the titles
They're
are
generally puns, like Lights, Camera,
like Shaun
Homicidal.
of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, right?
Yeah.
That's not an '80s
I guess
reference.
it's not 80s.
That's like a 2000s movie, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's
Actually,
like Shaun and Gus of the Dead.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So this would be like you could probably make a play off of like Back to the Future, but you don't call it Back to the Future. So I don't know what you would call it.
I don't know.
Like
You could.
Back to the D.B. Cooper, or I don't know. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
I don't know.
I'd have to like.
Usually,
I'd have to brain-
usually this is like my
Yeah,
golden
I'd have to
moment. I
sit
come
down
up with
and
like I'll sit down and write down
brainstorm
names for
that.
things. I can't think of anything. What's another like time traveling?
If we get
And if you say Doctor Who, I'm gonna kill you.
if
What's
we
another
get
time
Back to
traveling?
the Future title, can we have a scene where Sean and Gus ride a skateboard?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That would, yeah.
That'd be cool.
On the back of a car.
Of course.
Right. Riding the skateboard is not enough of a reference. It'd have to be hanging onto the back of a car.
And they'd be not good at it.
You could call it Sean to the Future,
Right.
or Sean to the Future. You could do Gus to the Future, but I like Sean to the Future better. Sean to the Future.
Or you could just call it, "We have to go back!" in all caps.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's the best I
You
could
could
do.
do that. Yeah.
I'm out of creative juice now.
You're all out.
I'm tapped
You're
out, bro.
spent.
Whew. Yeah, this morning at work, I thought about that Psych pitch, and then
Yeah.
What's the doctor's name in Back to the Future?
Doc Brown,
Doc
right?
Brown.
Is that his name?
I think.
He always just calls him Doc, so I never really pay attention to his real name.
I think it's Doc Brown.
1.21 Sean and Gus's.
That's a good one too.
What's?
Because
Oh,
it's like
1.21
gigawatts.
gigawatts.
Oh yeah.
How could I be so careless?
Yeah. I haven't seen Back to the Future in forever.
You should
Watch
rewatch
that.
it.
Yeah, it's very good.
I probably haven't seen it in a good 5 years.
I would
This-
argue worth the hype.
But you probably haven't seen the second or third one yet, have you?
Or not.
They're also worth the hype.
Yeah. I mean, the third one was a little corny, but
The
I kinda
third
liked
one may be the weakest of the three, but that's,
it. It kind of wraps things up
that's
with
like
Doc nicely, though.
it's like taking three professional all-star football players and then pointing to the weakest one. Right? Well,
Yeah.
he's the weakest guy. Yeah, I still wouldn't want to be hit by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we did good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a quick question because I've actually come up with like a lot of debate on this with people I know who are Psych fans, and we can just talk more about Psych. Were you guys fans of the musical? Psych the musical?
I have actually not seen the musical.
You haven't seen it?
No.
It was on Netflix.
Nope.
I thought it was.
Did you make a choice to skip it?
I thought the soundtrack was good. Like, I went out and I bought the soundtrack.
No, I actually, no, I never, to my own chagrin, I have never seen this, because it was like Christmas special, right? Or it came out around Christmas time?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I have not seen it. And it wasn't because I skipped it because it was a musical. No, I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I'm not a fan of musicals,
Oh,
but I did want to watch that because I've been willing to give it a shot because it's, Psych.
it's like yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a
It's
big
not
fan of it.
terrible.
yeah. I'd like most.
I
People
thought the
know weren't
soundtrack
huge
was
fans.
fun. Especially because then I heard that, like, I can't remember, I was watching some kind of interview about it, and they were talking about, like, having to sing for the show. And they were just talking about, like, how that was, like, probably the funnest part. Because they've always kind of sing-song stuff, like, here and there in the show. But then when they, like, actually had to sing, and then they did it actually pretty well. I thought that was good. I thought they did the music well.
Yeah, I remember like James Roday was talking like in an interview one time, and he was like, "Yeah, the musical was weird because like we've always been like goofballs in the show and like always trying to get people to laugh and like we'd sing songs to do that, but then like they wrote this whole musical for us, and I remember thinking like there was one point when all the actors like it was like one of the big numbers, and he's like, hey, like we all like quit because one of the first things we shot, and we were like, hey, are we supposed to do like singing to like try to like impress people? Like we're supposed to do like a good job, or we're supposed to just like go for it and like see what happens? And I don't remember what they ended up doing, but he's like it was a very weird moment when it was the first time that we were like do we have to like try to do like good at singing? Like do we have to like really really try?
Yeah.
Like I guess like yeah, because they sing and like there were those psych outs for a lot of the seasons where it was just essentially them singing different songs at the end.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of those? Did you watch the show when it was live at all?
No, I didn't.
Did you watch the show when it was running?
I didn't have the chance.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it, but then we cut our cable. We cut our cord.
Yeah.
So-
See, we cut our cable when I was like a kid. So.
Yeah, so we didn't. I didn't get back to it till it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we were, but I think we just stopped. I don't remember why. Like, I quit watching it for a bit, and then was just watching the stuff that came out on Netflix. But, like no, we were big Monk fans.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the show that aired after Monk, so we saw a lot of trailers for it. And
See, it's funny you say that because I did not watch the first few seasons of Psych because I was a Monk fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was really into Monk. I still am. I still enjoy Monk, but I actually like Psych better.
I do too.
And so I saw the trailers for Psych. I'm like, that looks stupid. I mean, it's just a rip off of Monk. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the guy who's hyper observant like Monk, but instead of OCD, he's playing like he's psychic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's dumb.
That's
So
a-
I didn't watch it for like 2 or 3 seasons, and then finally some one of the guys I knew, he's like, you really need to watch it. I think you'd like it. So we watched it, and I was like, this show is amazing. How like why did I never watch this show before?
Yeah.
I think my parents were like, no, it looks dumb. And then my brother was like, seemed really interested in it and sort of convinced mom and dad to make it. So we'd start Monk because we recorded him so we didn't have to watch commercials. We'd start Monk as Psych would start. And then by the time we were done with Monk, Psych would almost be over, but we could start it and fast forward all the commercials. And that was like our Thursday night or whatever.
So I think it was on its like 3rd or 4th season, but the first episode I ever saw was the Spelling Bee episode.
Oh, that's a
That
good
was a
one.
good episode, too. Yeah.
And
That was...
And it turns out at the end that Sean purposefully gave him the wrong letter so that he would lose.
Yeah.
So then he wouldn't keep going.
So he would keep going and be even a bigger dork growing up.
Yeah, that was great.
Aggiornamento. Come on, Gus. Everybody knew it was an I. What? You knew?
That's right. And then they were like, word please. Banana.
And a banana. Went to the store to buy some.
Bananas. That was a good episode.
A delicious fruit. A fruit. And a delicious type of pudding.
Right. Yeah, so
That was the first episode with Jules, too.
I think
That was where he
was that
goes
the
into the
second
diner.
episode?
Yeah, he goes in the
Okay.
diner and he hits on Jules.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
then
That
he's
was- that was a good
"Oh,
scene."
you're a cop.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
But
You definitely are.
in a sad kind of way, I think your reunion series could work because I don't think these guys have really moved on to anything else permanent.
Yeah. Well, I know James Roday does a lot of like plays. Like
yeah,
he
stage
owns like a
theater.
theater and stuff because he's had all of them on like a. on,
He
performances.
owns a theater and
And-
does a lot of stage productions.
Timothy Edmondson, Lassie's character, he's been in a lot of stuff.
He's been around. I've seen
Yeah.
him show up, but the stuff that he's in it's always temporary.
And got
Yeah.
canceled. Well, he had a permanent gig and the show got canceled. Did you
Are
see
you talking
Gallivant?
about? What are you talking about?
What was
Which
that?
show?
The show Gallivant?
Oh no, I've never seen
No.
it.
Okay, so the I'll do a quick plug. The co-host with the other podcast I'm doing, Worth the Hype, told me about this show called Gallivant, which is like, what if Psych the musical met the Princess Bride?
Mhm.
So it's a lot of singing, but in this funny theatrical way, because it's a TV show musical, but it's like all medieval fantasy,
So it's like a rip off of Glee.
kind of, but like good.
Huh.
But it is Lasseter's characters in that he plays like an evil king who's also like very much like a baby about everything in life. He's a funny
Interesting.
character. I like Gallivant a lot. It's on Netflix.
I know Lassie's in the show called Jericho. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It got canceled, but it's about like this little town called Jericho.
My wife
in
loves that show.
Kansas.
I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
Basically, like this atomic bomb goes
Yeah,
off
go-
in like 13 different areas, and then all these. It's basically just about all these little towns trying to survive, and there's like civil wars, and Lassie's character is like this dictator guy. It fits. It fits
So the
him as
actors
being
in
Lassie.
Jericho.
What?
That actor's in Jericho.
He's in the other town,
okay.
and he's like a dictator of that town. He's actually
Okay.
very much like Lassie in Psych, just as far as that like.
Yeah, because I understand it had like what 1 or 2 seasons, then it got canceled.
Yeah.
And then like fan reaction, they brought it back for another season.
Yeah.
I think so.
Right.
They ended it okay though. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but
It's a good show. It's fine.
So I have not seen the movie yet. I know it just came out a couple days ago.
I haven't either.
So
I've only know one person who has.
And did they enjoy it?
It was Michael. Michael said, so speaking of Timothy Edmondson or whatever his name is, had a real life stroke
Oh, really?
during like the filming of Psych. So like he's in it for a little bit, but then they had to like rewrite a bunch of it after they started shooting.
Lassie's character.
Lassie's character had a stroke
seriously?
in real life. Yeah, like he's okay now.
Was
but-
he able to finish filming? Or
No, because like the whole time, like while they had the time to shoot, he was in the hospital, like getting like operated on and stuff, and
That stinks.
yeah, so like they had to rewrite a bunch of the show. So like Michael's like, you could tell that it's still good and it's still very fan servicey. He's like in like a fun way, like the actors are charismatic and they pull it off well, and it's fun to watch. But he's like, it was going to be something different that I think would have been better, but they then said, oh shoot, we have to rewrite a bunch of this movie now.
yeah,
Because we don't have one of the main characters. Like all of a
Yeah, and
sudden.
that stuff generally it's not shot chronologically.
Yeah.
They shoot scenes out of order and then edit it together. So that probably made it even more difficult. Like, how do we still use this stuff we have with Lassiter?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we don't have Lassiter. Yeah, like
Right.
so he was like you could tell at certain points they're like oh we kind of ran into issues here, but he's like overall it left me wanting more Psych, but feeling having my Psych itch scratched too. So I guess the best possible feeling to have for wanting more Psych, for getting more Psych.
Yeah, that is you still want more.
Yeah, you feel satisfied, like, oh, like, this scratched my Psych itch. However, I still love to see these characters. Like, it didn't ruin anything,
yeah.
but it wasn't better than the best episode of Psych. So,
Yeah, and you know it's when I watch a show that I really enjoy, I generally go look for shows that are similar to it. I don't know if other people do the same thing. So when I watched Stranger Things, when I binge watched it twice in the matter of a weekend,
oh boy.
right? After I got done watching it, I had a show hole, right? I had that Stranger Things
Yeah.
hole. I'm like, what am I gonna watch? I mean, there are other
was kinda
shows
the
that I
same
watch,
way,
but
yeah,
what am I
I know
gonna
what
watch
you
that will scratch that itch? And there really wasn't anything to scratch that itch. I mean, I just had to wait for Stranger Things 2 to come out.
Yeah.
Which I think was much to the benefit. Like, immediately fans, like, were demanding more Stranger Things because it's very unique and there was nothing like it.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, psychedelic, like, there are shows that are supposed to be, like, procedural shows, like, police procedural shows that, like, are also supposed to be funny, kind of, but not in the same way that Psych is. Like, the only other show I can think of that's, like, a comedy that takes place in a police station is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a funny
Right.
show,
It's a hilarious show,
but it's not the
it's
same way.
nothing like,
Was legitimately,
Monk is there's
The
Monk and the
closest.
Mentalist,
Yeah.
which I tried watching, but I didn't
Fine.
like it.
it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't. They reference Mentalist and Psych.
Which I
And-
forget. I forget that
And
they
he
do
talks
that.
about, like, he's like, you know, and then I watched a couple
It's in
episodes of
later
Mentalist
seasons,
with my
right?
dad or something like that, and so I can't get the thought. And my grandma watched The Mentalist, so I can't get the thought of the Mentalist being for like old people. So I can't get into it.
No.
I know that's weird psychological, but it's like
The
I can't
episode
get into it.
where Sean gets shot and they're going through Sean's.
I was just
Yes.
thinking of that, and he's holding the iPad up. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh,
that was great.
and his
I just
a cappella group, they all
Yeah.
come and to help
very
help
good.
him out. Yeah, I was just thinking about that episode. That is a good episode.
watched the episode where his dad gets shot. That was
Spoilers.
what?
Spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
spoilers.
spoiled that whole episode.
Well, you guys, where he gets shot?
It's obvious when he's coming when it happens. What's that?
It is true.
What did we
Yeah, that's
spoil?
fair. What about about Sean getting shot?
The episode where Sean gets
Well,
shot. I
that's
think
at the
you're
beginning
referencing the
of the
episode where he
episode.
gets poisoned.
Oh yeah, he gets poisoned.
You're
You're
thinking of
right.
the episode where he gets poisoned. The episode where he gets shot. They're all looking for him,
Oh yeah.
but they go through Sean's search history and they're like, the Mentalist spoilers, like, and like going through, like, that's one of the jokes
Okay.
that they make there. Like,
That's
no,
what it
the one
was,
where he
yeah.
gets shot. Also, you figure out at the beginning, like, you see like Gus or Sean in a car, and then you see like Gus show up to a place in his pajamas, and then Lassiter and Jules get there, and they're like, "Where's Sean?" I'm like, "I think I found blood," and then like Gus gets a text. He's like, "Oh boy."
Yeah,
I don't know. That one I feel like could have been a little funnier. It was a little too.
that was it was
serious.
really intense. Yeah, but it was good. Like it gave like a little bit of an intense moment in the series, which I think was good. Like I enjoyed that episode. But
Yeah, it's always hard when a show never takes itself seriously,
yeah,
right? And that's not against the show because it knows the kind of show it is, and then it does that. Sometimes it can be kind of jarring.
yeah,
Like why am I supposed to take this seriously, or when's the joke? When do you think I crack the joke
yeah.
to lighten the mood?
Which,
I mean, something. Go ahead.
which I think like episodes that did that was like the Friday the 13th joke episode was like
Is that the one at the camp?
yeah was like
Yeah.
it was very intense and I wasn't ready for it, and like it was a weird episode for me because we were all complaining about it when we were watching it with my family and stuff, because we're like, this is a bad episode. Like, Gus is acting out of character. Like, Gus isn't scared of everything. Like, he screams sometimes, but like Gus is much braver than Sean, which never happens. Like, we were literally complaining about the episode.
And then the reveal.
And then there was, and like, or like, it's also like super intense for a Psych episode and stuff. And then there's a punchline to it. And you're like, oh, so
I don't
it
remember
does
how it
that
ends.
thing, but like that
You
joke
gotta
pays
watch
off
it
even
again.
better.
Yeah,
I don't
you should
remember.
watch it again then.
Because for the same reason, I
Because
was.
it's like 2 episodes almost. It's like
Yeah,
too many episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels, yeah.
Because
It's a good
after the
one.
I'll have to go back and watch
punchline,
it.
because the punchline happens like right before the 3rd act,
Yeah.
right? So there's a whole
Yeah.
nother act where it almost kind of repeats itself,
Yeah.
and you have the real ending. It's pretty good.
I don't
Yeah,
remember,
it's a good
I don't remember
yeah.
how it ends, so I'll have to go back and watch
Yeah, but like the whole like it being like an episode that we didn't like makes the joke of the episode, like that first like joke, pay off way better, which is why I think like it's
Yeah.
one of my favorites now, and I originally didn't like over half of it
Yeah.
watching it because it subverted expectations, and it was very good.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
it. Yeah. But like the episode where Sean gets shot, like what I kind of noticed was like that. It kind of like shows like all this stuff. Like it shows how. What I'm trying to say, like Sean going into kind of survivalist mode, and like all these things that his dad showed him, like kicking out the light and the running in the zigzag pattern and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
think-
I feel like that kind of contributed a little bit, even though it
That's
was
right, that's
even
one
though
of
it
the-
wasn't serious. I mean, even though
Stuck
it
in the
was
back
serious.
of the car, right?
Yeah. Even though it was serious, it kind of like it showed that like okay, Sean can be like actually kind of like
A competent person.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
He can be an adult. If he's been shot, he can act like an adult.
yeah,
and like I think like that is something that the show also does well, is like, and I think they even hit it on the head in I think the episode Sean 2.0, the first one with Declan,
oh yeah,
and he's like, no, I'm just like really good at reading people and stuff, and they're like, yeah, right, and Sean's like, yeah, right, do me, and he just like hits, like he just nails Sean's like, you're like really smart, really intelligent, like you're good at a lot of things, but like you're scared of growing up, so you just act like a child and hide behind jokes and stuff like all the time. And like, and Sean's like, said the liar or whatever, and he leaves. And Gus is like, he nailed it, like perfect. It's like that, yeah, it very much so. We're like, occasionally you get to see interesting moments when Sean's like, oh, I have to be an adult now. Let me be a grown up, real quick for like as short a time as possible to get through whatever's going on.
yeah.
And then go be a child again, which I think is those are always written well and fun to see.
Yeah.
I think we can also wrap the show, or we can just talk about Psych a whole lot more.
I don't care.
It's up to you guys.
I guess.
Did you notice that there were 2 WWE stars on the show? Was
I
there
know
more?
John
I'm only
Cena.
picking up. I
don't
know
follow
2. Is there
WWE.
more?
I
don't
only know
either.
John Cena. Who else was on there?
The Big Show. He was the guy that in the cabin, and remember they were really hungry. They're out in the woods looking for Bigfoot, and they thought
yeah.
Lassie was
Yeah.
dead, and so Gus ate him. He thought he ate a bit of Lassie because he was so hungry. He was like, "Wait a second, you
I
ate
forgot.
him when you thought it
That
was
was cool.
Lassie?" He's like, "I was hungry. I was hungry, Sean. I had eat all day."
Okay, I feel like that brings up a good
That was
question.
big. That was the Big Show.
Is it cannibalism if you,
Think
like-
it's human flesh?
but you're not sure?
No, I just didn't know. I think
No.
you could. It is not
Because you
cannibalism.
can actually contract a pretty serious condition from cannibalism.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not psychological. So yeah,
Yeah.
But
don't
I
it's-
think somebody calling you a cannibal is legitimate at that point, though. Like if you
Yes.
make a conscious choice to eat what you think is human flesh, whether it
Right.
is or not, you can be called a cannibal,
Right.
but you are not a cannibal.
right.
It's not cannibalism because you didn't
Right.
eat. But if I was like, "Hey, you're a cannibal," you essentially are because you made the choice for all
Right.
means.
Which
to
may
eat
make it
something.
easier for you in an actual situation, like a live situation,
Yeah.
where you're part of a soccer team and you crash and maybe you have to eat human flesh. It might be easier for you to do that.
Well, thanks. Now I'm never playing soccer again. That's okay.
Or rugby. That actually happened. You guys know that, right?
Yeah, there's a soccer team, like, it crashed and they all had to eat each other or something, right?
Well, they didn't all eat each other.
The dead ones
Clearly, one was. Well, there was one
Some of
left.
them ate some of the dead ones.
Yeah.
It's not like they all lopped off a leg and shared it amongst themselves.
Yeah, have a leg.
All right.
Okay, so can I do the
That would be the worst to do legs. That'd be, like, so tough and, like, soccer players are all muscular legs. They would do arms, probably.
Yeah.
That way they could still play.
So I was watching.
Probably so they could still run.
I was watching this movie the other day. I won't give the name, but they were talking about that phrase, an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. And they're driving in the car and they're talking about this, and the guy driving, he stops and he's thinking for a few seconds. He says, "No, that's actually stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because the last guy with one eye, he could just run away. How is the other guy with two eyes supposed to stab his eyes out? He just runs away. He's fine. He's like, the Dalai Lama's an idiot." Or like whoever said it. He's like, he's an idiot.
That's funny. Where was that? What was that on?
That was a movie.
Okay.
I enjoy the movie, but I don't know how. I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. What is it?
Seven Psychopaths.
We'll cut it. Oh,
Okay.
never seen it or heard of it.
Neither have I. So go watch Seven Psychopaths.
Well, watch our show, like and subscribe. Give
You
us money.
should. I'm Sean. This is Ovaltine Jenkins and MC.
Butter
Clap
snaps.
your hands. That's good too. I'm sorry. I had to do that bit.
I tried to take it. My bad.
And how do you know I had butter snaps in my pocket?
I didn't say butter snaps.
I said butter.
You said butter snaps.
Yeah.
I said you're Ovaltine Jenkins and you're MC. Clap your
okay.
Oh,
hands.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Cycles. Let's not talk anymore. Let's end it.
That's okay.
But if there's another Psych movie, expect another one of these.
And we should just throw out there, we didn't do the whole Matt's Majestic Mind thing. I just want to say, Marcus got kind of roasted, so you can go read that on Facebook too.
I blame Joe.
I don't know if
Joe
you know
didn't
that,
have the
Matt.
episode
Matt
out.
Sampson, he comments all the time, and so we
Okay.
talk
Can I
about
ask
it.
before we close? Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Psych idiosyncrasy or habit, like thing that they say to each
Yes.
other, or whatever? One of them that one of the characters, whenever Gus does that.
It's either gonna be have you heard about Pluto? That's messed up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or when they'll slap each other. In
That
the
was going to be
chest and
mine.
say, "Come on, son."
Whenever they hit each other or slap each other, especially in the peck. That's my
It is-
favorite,
it is-
because it always escalates.
Yep.
There was a time when the quarterback on my football team would do that. Like when you get mad at people. Come on. It was very good. Yeah, I think it's probably the Pluto thing. Yeah, when Gus. Cause they did it one time as a throwaway joke.
Hey, you hear about Pluto? That stinks.
And he actually does it on a girl too. Yeah.
Right, it's always when he doesn't know what to say, and he's awkward. It's an awkward moment. That's what he says. He says that a lot.
Yeah.
And the episode where they're arguing about who has better game or whatever, and he's like Gus, he's like, you heard about Pluto? That's supposed to. He's like, when has that ever landed? Ever? What kind of move is that?
They were actually in that episode. They were in a space museum or something. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good
Yeah, that
episode
was one
too,
where
where they go in the museum.
That was one with the telescope, because the two guys, one of the telescopers, died, and he started dating a girl, and it might have been her, because that's a routine, right? Where he's always
where he's
always dating the murderer.
Yeah, and they that's the one where they invent stealth mode. He's like, I'll go jackal mode, Sean.
Hit the jackal switch, Sean.
Yeah, and then Sean already has by the time Gus shows up, Sean has the job at the Smithsonian or whatever,
Right.
and he picks up the thing, the jackal has entered the building.
That's right. He's like, you'll never be, because he was following him. He's like, you won't be able to follow me. I'll go to stealth mode. And then he goes and gets the job there, because he knows that's where he's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's so it's so good.
Such a good show.
And then there's the part when he's supposed to run the laser light show or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They all come out vomiting.
Yeah, and he's like, and that, my friends, is why time travel is not only possible, but may have already happened.
See, and that fits into my episode. We can reference back to that episode.
This could happen right after that episode. Your episode could.
Or
chronologically.
somebody claims that they were at that and says, "No, you explained." Like, no, Sean. I know that time travel's real. You explained it to me, and I know that it works. Like, and yeah, it'd be fun.
Wait. So this guy, the guy in Max Pitch who comes back from the future, was in the observatory. He was in the observatory.
Right.
And
Sean got him thinking, and he figured it all out.
Or Sean sent him into the future.
Or he goes crazy because of the lights, and he thinks he's from the future.
Sean inadvertently drives somebody insane.
Right.
I think he already did that with Lassie, though.
Sort of.
Kind of.
But the episode where Lassiter gets a new apartment and they're like fake haunting it, you know, and like you get to see Lassiter go insane.
Yeah,
right,
that was great.
Gus, there was just the episode where Gus was having issues with his bosses, and so he fake haunted his boss's house.
Yeah.
That was the last episode we just watched. So he basically fake haunted himself and Gus.
Yes,
that was a good episode.
Gus, have you ever put dry ice in your mouth? Don't. It doesn't matter how many times you wrap it.
It's not a good idea.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's a great show.
I'm ready.
All right. So that's a show. This is Let Me Pitch This To You. You can email. You can vote on it, or I feel like since we all kind of like just winged it, you could just like email in your own Psych bit if you want at letmepitchthistoyou@gmail.com.
Wouldn't the past tense of wing be wanged?
No, it'd be wanged.
Wanged.
It was
Better, dang it.
I've heard it both ways.
There you go. No, you haven't.
Yeah, let's end it.
All right. We got this. We're gonna end it. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
We're gonna do a countdown.
No.
Okay.
We crushed it. We got it. We did great. Got it in one.
Oh, that was terrible.
What's the episode where we couldn't figure it out? There was an episode where like we kept both like we both would go down or like
When others are trapped in their beds, that's when I am free. Thanks to Footy Pajamas.